Hey y'all, it's Krypton Critics, and I'm here to review the 2006 film Wicker Man, which is a remake of the 1973 film which starred Christopher Lee. The remake is directed by Neil LaBute. It stars Nicolas Cage as Edward Malice, Ellen Burstyn as Sister Summers Isle, Kate Behan as Sister Willow Woodward, Lily Sibelski as Sister Honey, Frances Conroy as Dr. Moss, and Molly Parker as Sister Rose, aka Sister Thorn. This movie is beyond fucking ridiculous. Uh, you know, this movie has so many aspirations to be a mystery, be a drama, be, a thriller. And it really doesn't work on any of those ways because most of the time it just comes off as really stupid or ridiculous. This is automatically, a guilty pleasure of mine. You already know that I'm going to give this an ironic higher rating than I actually give it. So let's get into the story in this film. So Nicolas Cage, our national treasure, and two as our national treasure. He is a he is that's a bad joke. Nicolas Cage plays a police officer. He in his line of work, he gives people like speeding tickets. He finds a doll thrown out of a woman's car, and he picks it up, gives it to the little girl in the back of the car, and the mother's like, "Oh, she's been acting up a little bit." And out of fucking nowhere, his big truck on the wrong side of the road, going in the opposite direction of where it's supposed to go, just rams into his mother and child and kills the mother instantly. For some reason, the car catches on fire. Just poof. And Nicolas Cage has to do this again. He gets his biker helmet, just starts smashing the glass. Then we find out he didn't save the girl, and now he feels bad for it. Not like fiction has done this before. Batman went through this back in the 90s in Batman Venom. He felt bad for the fact that he couldn't save a little girl from drowning, and he started getting hopped up on basically steroid called Venom, and he starts having roid rage. In this movie, he starts ending up with depression. I guess he gets a self-help tape while smiling, and I'm thinking to myself, wait, you don't give self-help tapes while you're smiling? That doesn't make any goddamn sense. But anyway, it's been several years since this happened. He doesn't show up to work very often. He's not policing a lot. He just seems to be depressed. Even before that little girl died, apparently, he started going through a divorce with his wife, Willow, and she just up and left. We find out that she has been on this island that is run by a matriarchy. So all the men on the island are not allowed to speak, and they're slaves. It's also worth to notice that this director has been criticized a lot for having sexist or womanizing statements or plots in his films. So that's something to keep in mind, definitely in this movie. And it feels shoehorned. Even that kind of element, like if it could fail as a thriller, if it fails as a mystery or a drama, you could at least do like clever messaging. This is amazingly stupid. Just really stupid. Nicolas Cage comes to this island. He's trying to find out the mystery of this this other little girl, but he keeps being reminded of the one girl that was, you know, that died in that crushed, burning car from back in the day. So, you know, that element could work fine if it wasn't shoved down our throat like 10 different times in this movie. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, he'll be like on a boat waiting to get close to the island before he meets elderly pilot that will actually take him to the island, and he sees a different little girl that looks a little similar, and he's just staring out of the window of this ferry ride, and just sees a giant truck just just take that little girl out. Of course, that didn't happen because, you know, semi trucks don't ride on fucking ferries and plow through the, you know, the bodies of children and, you know, destroy them. It's supposed to be a visualization, but every time it's unintentionally hilarious. I was laughing every time. I couldn't keep laughter in for a lot of these scenes. There's a few stretches in the movie where it could pass as that's not really that good, but it's not awful. There's nothing I can laugh at. And, you know, sometimes when I have a movie that's a guilty pleasure, you know, part of me wants everything to be stupid and unbelievably hilarious. And sometimes I can see the good try to come out. Like, at most, there's bare minimum acting. There's great, unintentionally great moments where people are freaking out, or they decide that you know, it's scary to have like a little smirk. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. That scary thing with the smirking really goes to Sister Honey, played by Lily Sobieski. Jesus, Lily, I'm sure you may be a very talented actress, but this does not bode well for that argument. This performance, it's unintentionally, you know, it's amazing how misdirected a lot of these actors are in this film. One of my, you know, so some of the best scenes in this movie are when Nicolas Cage, we find out that he has a allergic reaction to bee stings. Okay, sure, but he happens upon some bees, and instead of, you know, going to another part of this island, this very strange island where these women act very weird, he's just like, you know what, I'm gonna run into this giant farm of beehives, not going the direction I just came out of where it was safe. I'm gonna go straight into it. And the fact that he doesn't die from how many bee stings, even though you established previously that he has a really bad allergic reaction, because he brought like special like medicine pins to be put into him. You know, you don't do that if it's something mild. That's life threatening, and it's a way for, you know, a script writer to, or the director to put in something of, you know, dire consequence that can happen, so we can feel for the character. But one, if we have no attachment to the character, you know, you already lost. But you lose twice as much if you set up these rules and, you know, the importance of having these details, and in the very next moment you act like you didn't have that. And, you know, we have goldfish memory, but still that made me laugh knowing that. One of the first things that Nicolas Cage does is he gets onto the island. This old man flies him over there on his personal small private plane. He gets on the island. He finds these elderly women and these two men holding a bag that's bloody. The bag is bloody and is shaking. Keep in mind, Nicolas Cage is still a police officer. He carries the badge and the gun with him. He says, "Oh, what is that? Is that like a shark or something?" And these women laugh, and they say, "Why don't you take a peek?" Yeah. And he's like, and they move the bag. We have a sound effect in the background for the viewers, and then he just and these old people, old women, and these two dudes holding the bag just laugh it off. And Nicolas Cage is like, "What? No, that's stupid. If you're a police officer and you see a bloody bag, you have the right and the power to." Once they say that you can look into the bag, you look into the fucking bag to make sure there's not like a body in there, a human being that's dead, because that's fucking ridiculous. Oh my god. So that's just one of the creepy scenes. The old women end up killing the pilot that helped Nicolas Cage get over there. And I know you may be asking, why am I not referring to Nicolas Cage's character, Officer Edward Malice? Because, when Nicolas Cage is Nicolas Cage, that's the heart and soul of what he is. When he gets to play ridiculous or plays subdued and ridiculous, it's impossible to separate the two when you're watching. Like, Nicolas Cage can do a good performance. One of my favorite performances by him is his character Big Daddy in Kick-Ass. He is my favorite thing from the Kick-Ass movie, the original. And I was glad, Jim Carrey could do a role that was, just as entertaining in the second one. But this role, just like, the screenwriters give him lines that like no duh, this island's fucking weird, and everything's a cultist, and they're sacrificing children and shit, like no fucking duh, and all this is weird. Like you are saying what the audience is thinking, but you have no personality. You just being upset that this girl died, and you're trying to save your daughter that you didn't even know you had, and they didn't give it enough for him to be a character. So it's great to laugh at just the shortcomings of screenwriting in this movie. It's really it's magical. These women on this island are like kind of pseudo versions of like Mennonites or Amish. They wear traditional garments. They're obsessed with like festivals and tending to land and shit like that. Usually that really goes nowhere other than to set up the twist. So Nicolas Cage's ex-wife Willow goes back to this island. She is originally from there. Then we find out, spoilers, if you're worried about this great epic, Jesus, that women from this island are intentionally sent out to lure men onto this island and have them be stuffed into, well, first of all, break their legs and have bees poured onto their face and have them forced up into this giant wicker man, kind of like Burning Man, man made out of sticks, stuffed with like goats and chickens. Like, we're supposed to take this scene seriously, but then we have bak bak bak. I'm like, no. And Nicolas Cage, I love when he gets to just go full crazy. Like, he has a very entertaining line where he says, "How does it get burned? How did it get burned?" Awesome. Uh, him imagining that he has a dream where uh, his daughter is drowning and he goes to save her, and he wakes up. He wakes up from that dream, and he has his daughter in his arms, and he's like, and then he wakes up from that. He wakes up from a dream, in a dream, kind of like in, yeah, really bad storytelling. And then he's looks down again, and there's nothing. He says, "Oh, God, damn it!" Magical. uh, we have the worst romance in the world between Willow and and Nicolas Cage's character. They try to get back together, and then they start kissing, and just like, oh my God, there is nothing here. Like, the only reason that we know or ever had inkling that they were ever together is because they say it. Like, not even the performances, like, can they reflect that? Like, there's certain movies where you had to cut out certain information because we had to go on with the story. Happens all the time. But if you can't sell it by showing us, by having the characters, feel it, have us really, experience it through their faces and their actions, then that's fucking lazy. It just is. Now, I will admit, the movie does have some really great shots. I'm not gonna lie, there are some good shots of, like, seeing the forest and the island. They picked a good place to have some good imagery. There's some pretty decent lighting. I really enjoy the score, not necessarily how it fits into the movie. Like, separately, sounds pretty good. Sounds like a pretty good score. There's a lot of scenes where it does not fit at all. It just wholly ridiculous. If anything, you're gonna see this movie just for ridiculousness of Nicolas Cage freaking out. You're gonna see it for these shoehorned messages about men, being terrorized by women, and doing all that bullshit. James Franco's in it. He's like bar dating at the end, and one of the women has, like, we hear bee noises around here as the ending. Oh my God. There's a woman that is like a photographer, and she's evil, and these people put on animal masks and sacrifice Nicolas Cage. They break his legs. They pour bees on his head. Now, you wouldn't see that from the regular cut, but you can find the deleted scenes. Go watch it, because even though some people might argue it's an overused meme, I get a kick out of it. It's like, oh no, the bees, they're my eyes. Ah, ah. Always amazing to see. He's like, you goddamn bitches. Ah, kill everyone, give me your honey. Ah, ah. Priceless. They're my eyes. Probably the best performance is Molly Parker as Sister Rose. She's probably the least often overdoing it and underdoing it. She's probably the most genuine. There's random scenes where we go into a room and there's something weird in there, like a bumpy guy or a woman covered in bees. And the villain is played by Ellen Burst, and she's the mother of, the divorced wife of Nicolas Cage, and she puts on the Braveheart makeup, and she has these two beekeepers that are kind of like her Praetorian guards from Return of the Jedi. this film fails as a horror. It fails as an action drama thriller, but I would be lying if I didn't say I had a lot of fun with how stupid this is. This movie, it definitely gets like a D minus, maybe even a E plus, but ironically, ironically, this is a A minus. This is fucking hilarious, especially the end. You see Nicolas Cage in a bear suit. That's the funniest shit ever. He smacks that lady. Oh, I don't condone slapping women, and this is fictitious in every way, but every time I see that, I laugh my fucking ass off. If you want to see Nicolas Cage doing crazy shit, and go see it. It's a cult film, and I would say it deserves it and it doesn't all at the same time. It's by the Crimson Critics. I love it.